Welcome to the Stoughton Godfather Show. I'm your host, Peter Ventresco. I'm going to show you like an 8 to 10 minute video of the town of Wakefield, what they have done for their seniors under the senior circuit breaker, the state senior circuit breaker.
Hi, my name is Victor Santinello, and I'm the Director of Assessments for the town of Wakefield. And I'm here to talk to you about an exciting new tax-saving opportunity for seniors in Wakefield that meet a set of criteria. About 2 years ago, town of Wakefield at town meeting passed a home rule petition that had to make its way through the legislature and ultimately be signed by the governor. While it took quite a bit of time to do that, Governor Baker finally signed it on Friday. So this is part of our rolling it out and informing people about this new and exciting opportunity for seniors to save taxes. We call it the Wakefield Senior Discount Program. And specifically, it's for folks that have received the senior circuit breaker income tax credit off of their Massachusetts income taxes. So when seniors file their income taxes, the senior circuit breaker is for folks that pay at least 10% of their total income towards local property tax and half water and sewer payments. They would qualify for, I think last year it was $1,100 credit off of their income taxes. Wakefield's program will match that. To qualify, you have to receive the senior circuit breaker income tax credit off of your income taxes. That, combined with our simple application that is posted to the town website on the assessing page, and the other criteria that's critical to receiving this is you have to own and occupy a home in Wakefield for the past 10 years. You would have been 65 years of age by the close of the prior calendar year. Any co-applicant must be at least 60 years of age. Have no other significant assets like a second home or a trust fund or anything like that. And you have to make timely application with the Board of Assessors. Our application time frame is the month of August and September. We have 2 months to do this, and we have the application on our website. Information has been was recently printed in the local newspaper. Our letters and communication are also up on the town website. Qualify for this exemption, you have to fill out the application. You have to send us a copy of the application, a valid Massachusetts ID, and on your Massachusetts income taxes, if you receive the circuit breaker income tax credit, it's called a Form CB2. That tells you and will tell us how much you received for a credit. If you don't have that form, it's also listed on, I think it's page 2 of your Massachusetts income taxes. We would need a copy of that as well, so we can verify how much you got for a credit. Once we determine the credit amount and you follow the guidelines and have been approved, we will match whatever credit the state gave you. And we will give that to you as a discount off of your real estate taxes. So say you apply in August to September, we verify everything, we would take that credit off of your actual tax bills, which is the one that would be due February and May of next year. Technically, it's still fiscal year 2021, but if you qualify for the max credit, which I'm not sure what it's going to be this year, but last year was $1,100, is quite sizable. Along with this exemption, if your property is in a trust, we would need to review your real estate trust documents to ensure ownership and percentage interest in that ownership to make sure we can grant the credit. It's the same criteria used for other state-sponsored statutory exemptions, like a senior citizens exemption, like a veterans exemption, or a blind exemption, or a surviving spouse exemption. Ownership must be required. And in drafting this new form of tax relief, we tried to keep the qualifying criteria as close to existing state law as we could to ensure it would pass legislative and legal muster. So, to reiterate, we're one of a handful of towns to craft our own legislation to afford seniors this additional form of tax relief. The goal is to help seniors age in place, stay in their homes longer, and stay vibrant in our lovely little town of Wakefield. To, again, receive the exemption, you have to get the state circuit breaker. You have to have been 65 years of age by the close of the prior calendar year. Any co-applicant must have been 60 years of age as well, have owned and occupied a home in Wakefield for the past 10 consecutive years. If within that time frame you owned a home in Wakefield, sold it, and bought a condo in Wakefield, you would still be eligible for the exemption. We just have to prove the ownership. No other significant assets, again, second home, trust fund, things like that, and make timely application with the board.
Well, I hope that was informative to especially all the seniors. And I want to make a little statement here. I am not running for any office for political, and the only thing I qualified last year was for the senior circuit breaker was $200, and that they deducted it off my state income tax value. That being said, the new fire station built half from the town budget, the other half from debt exclusion. Stoughton paid half, taxpayers paid the other half. Town manager at the time for the town was Robin Grimm. Came up with a plan to take burden off the back of the taxpayers. Now, thank you, Robin Grimm, because if it wasn't for the town manager at the time, Robin Grimm, this fire station would still be on the drawing board. That being said, I'm going to add, well, so I don't forget further down, I believe if Robin Grimm was still selectman, this new school will be coming out of the town budget, and I'll explain that later. All right, now, the new fire truck costs $2 million and will be ready for delivery in 4 years. To pay for the new fire truck, Stoughton will take $500,000 per year out of the town budget to pay for the truck. In 4 years, when the truck is ready, the town will have $2 million cash that was taken from the budget. Okay. New South School could be paid for out of the town budget the same way Stoughton is going to pay for the new fire truck. The South School yearly payment of the bond is $4 million per year for the life of the bond, which, for the bond. We have money and we don't need a debt exclusion. We have millions of newfound money, the money to pay for the new school and the new police station. All monies, $948,478.58 TIF money, and $5 million from Logistic Park. Not my words, those are the words from the town manager and Selectman Joe McCrisky. $4 million a year for the life of the bond. Instead, they went the other route of dividing the town the same way a recall does. Now, we have millions of newfound money to pay for the new school and the police station. Okay, the $948,478.58 TIF money, $5 million Logistic Park. That comes to $5,948,047.58. Okay, so that money goes into the budget like the money did for the police station. But they can do the same thing here. It goes into the budget. They can take it out and put it towards the new fire station. School. Back to the new farm money. 20 years TIF. All the above listed companies did not pay taxes for the life of the TIF, and Stoughton ran well without the tax revenue. Now, they cannot operate without the new money. Why? All the new growth goes into the budget and disappears into a big black hole between the schools and the town side. Think about this. We survived without the TIF and without all the new millions coming in from Logistic Park. And that being said, okay, we can, I'm going to keep going back. We can pay for the school out of the budget. Now, we need a new select member, one that's new and has no baggage, that's going to have the best interest of Stoughton. And I am voting for Bob Kirby. He's new, he's fresh, he's not political, he doesn't have any ties, doesn't owe anybody anything. One board member has been there on and off for 20 years. Dalal has been there, that wants to come back, has been chairman of the board of SMAC, and that was a mess. We, the board members, voted him out and took 9 months to open the ballot box because a lot of legalities. The night the ballot box was open, to be open and counted, the chairman sent in his resignation before the ballots were taken. I say we need new faces, and I'll add to SMAC. It's run very well and very efficient with new chairman. When George Stagnon and Joe McCrisky were both on the Board of Selectmen, both voted against my article to town meeting. My article was a senior circuit breaker. You've just seen that video from Wakefield. Whatever the amount the town of Stoughton would match that amount by lessening the property tax. At the time, the max the state circuit breaker was $1,000. Now you're seeing on the video it went up to 1,100, so it had to be like a year or so after I presented my article. Then the town would deduct the same amount off your real estate tax. At the time, the Department of Revenue said it would have cost the town of Stoughton $180,000. Small money in the big picture. They come out with that figure because they have a list of every town and city in Massachusetts, how many people applied in each area, and how much each area got. Some, they didn't give names. They $1,000, they went down 500, 200, but the average come out to like $500. We spend money creating new jobs that we do not need. However, taxes go up every year. To maintain town services, we have to support our town for yearly pay raises. Contractual agreements, that's a given. The only way to put a lid is not to create new jobs. A few years back, the town of Stoughton ran very well with, I'm getting that new job very well, but that's right, we made new positions that we really don't need. But I'm not going to get into all that details. I've ruffled enough those already. A few years back, the town of Stoughton ran very well with one superintendent and an assistant. We still have the same number of roads, sewer, and water pipes. So why do we need all these new extra people? I ask. Under Superintendent Larry Barrett, he oversaw all departments. Barrett and John Batchelor ran the town of Stoughton with only foremen in each department. He oversaw every department. Every department answered to him. Now we have superintendent, and the service is worse than ever before. Case in point, trash for one. All big pay increases were at the top, with all the department heads and all the men and women that really do the work get paid less. They are the ones who keep this town running day in and day out. The town is so divided since the town manager came here. John Stagnon, Joe and Jack Stoughton are using elderly for political reasons to get our votes by campaigning to help over 65 years old to apply for the 41C tax relief in the state senior circuit breaker to help offset the override cost. All elderly won't qualify. The question is, what are you as a town official doing to help us? Not the Department of Revenue. You as a town selectman, you as a town selectman, lots of over 65 will meet the threshold to receive the tax break. The odds are much better in the state senior circuit breaker. Encourage you all to apply for the right now. It grants seniors $2,700 a year, and you can go back retroactive 3 years for first timers if you qualify. Now, I'm saying that 3 years because when I first introduced this bill, a friend of mine, Steve Mitchell, his mother was 84, and I said to Steve, your mother still file income tax? He says, no. I said, well, she's a good prime candidate. Go to an accountant, fill out the tax for the senior circuit breaker relief, and go back 3 years retroactive. So at the time, she got 3 separate checks, $1,000, $3,000 checks, one for each year. So that was great. Now, I'm a little sketchy if they're still going 3 years back, but I think they still are. All right. Selectman Joe McCrisky is telling the elderly to apply to help offset the tax bill with money from the senior circuit breaker. What they are not telling us that lots are not going to qualify. It's all for your vote. Remember that. If Stoughton really wants to help the 65 and over community, do what parts of Georgia does. Exempt seniors from new schools and municipal buildings. Why? Because they pay for the schools and municipal buildings as well as the upkeep. They don't think the elderly should pay a second time. And the same as what Wakefield did. So what I mean by all elderly ain't gonna qualify, some are not gonna be over the threshold, so that they're not gonna qualify. But if you're under the top threshold, okay, you're gonna qualify. But it doesn't mean you're gonna get the $2,700. It depends where you fall on that sliding scale, like the video said before. You could be, and like I said before, how the state broke up the $180,000 credit Stoughton seniors got. So some are gonna get the full amount, some are gonna get less money and less money and less money. Like me last year, I qualified for $200. So, so I don't know if they're telling everybody that, but that's the reality of it. To kill my article on the 41C tax relief program, you have to be under a low income threshold to meet the requirements of 41C means test. And cities and towns can give relief up to $1,000 off the real estate tax. Okay. Stoughton, for years, gave the homeowners $250 under 41C. Think about that. The first time my article to town meeting to piggyback off the state of Massachusetts senior circuit breaker, what amount of money did the state Department of Revenue will give, the tax flyer? Stoughton would deduct the same amount from the tax bill. If the Department of Revenue gave you a tax flyer, $1,000, the town of Stoughton would deduct $1,000 from your tax bill. So the town of Stoughton assessor, to kill my article, said under 41C tax relief, Stoughton would raise the $250 tax exempt to $500. I said to the assessor, why a half loaf? Give the whole loaf of $1,000. Why Stoughton would not, because the first $500, the Department of Revenue would reimburse the cities and towns. The second $500, that would make the $1,000, cities and towns would have to absorb the amount out of the budget. Why in God's name, in all those years, would Stoughton only give $250 to Stoughton when Stoughton could have been given the taxpayers $500, all paid back from the Department of Revenue. Stoughton does not care for its elderly. That's my opinion. And I'm going to add this a little bit. It's a little off the tax-based part, but anyways, in 1930, Mr. Williams Sr. was superintendent of the Department of Public Works. James Williams, his son, worked his way up to be superintendent of the Department of Public Works. When his father retired, and his assistant, Larry Barrett, also worked his way up. When Mr. James Williams retired, Mr. Barrett became superintendent, and his new assistant was John Batchelor, who also worked his way up from the bottom. Now, when Mr. Batchelor became superintendent, J.D. was in line to be the assistant at the time. At the time, J.D. left to be assistant town manager in Plymouth, Massachusetts, when they hired from outside the system. Here's when the chain got broken in Stoughton. They hired outside from the system instead of within. Mr. Batchelor retired. The assistant superintendent, Tom Fitzgerald, became superintendent of the Department of Public Works. He moved on a short time later. Stoughton became a stepping stone for Mr. Fitzgerald. Again, they did not hire within. All these homegrown men from Stoughton stayed. They all loved the town. Also, Superintendent Larry Barrett was licensed to handle water treatment. That's a plus. That's a plus. That eliminates one job, paying somebody else. Okay. A few years back, the town of Stoughton ran very well with one superintendent and an assistant. We still have the same number of roads, sewer, water pipes, so why do we need all these extra people? I ask. Under Superintendent Larry Barrett, rest in peace, he oversaw all departments. Mr. Barrett and the assistant, John Batchelor, ran the town of Stoughton with foremen in each department. They all answered to him. The best of the crop of foremen was selected to become the next assistant superintendent. Now we have more superintendents and the service is worse now than ever before. Case in point, trash for one. Joe was on the Board of Selectmen a few years back when Bobby Cotton and Spanky were selectmen. They did not get along with the select board. Joe did not get along with the select board members. When his time was up, Joe McCrisky, didn't run. As time passed, next election, Joe got back into running again. His opponent voted against my article, now running for selectman. He's going to help the elderly for tax relief. He made it political, which I'm not happy about, because he could have done something before, but now he's running for selectman, he's looking for votes. And I hated doing to this gentleman because I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a very nice guy. I liked him a lot. He was a wonderful family man, a wonderful husband, wonderful father, and he taught religious education. So I thought he was a great guy, and I hated doing it because if he didn't make it political, I would have went whole hog behind him. I spent money in a penny saver, telling voters my side of the story. If I didn't run ads in the penny saver for 4 weeks, Joe would have lost. Now Joe McCrisky is doing the same. He made the elderly political to get votes. And I'm not happy with that. So thanks for listening. And I hope I gave you some informative information. And again, I encourage all the elderly to apply for the senior circuit breaker. Because the 41C, it's going to be harder for people because it's got a low threshold. So it's going to be harder for the citizens to qualify that. It's very few. So go for the senior circuit breaker. Thank you for listening and have a good day.
retrieve the gun. Take the cannoli.